Your interviews, you make sense.
And you seem kind of the polar opposite of Andrew Cuomo. Here's a guy, Cuomo,
Yes.
who's lived off the public dole his entire political life, his entire career, frankly.
So
as
is
an
a
adult.
Republican.
But
Don't let him get off the hook.
all right, fair enough. But you served in the military, and you own a trucking company.
Yep.
And now you're in kind of this grassroots campaign.
That's what we're trying to talk about.
And it sounds like a
Well,
great
that from you. I like
Yeah,
that.
big.
That's good. I like that.
Well, no, it sounds great, but you would, based on what I'm hearing, it seems like more people would be for this. How come more people
They don't know any better.
They don't know that?
That's true. They don't know that. The reality of it is, the vast majority of people, if you actually explain it to them, go, oh yeah, it makes sense. Then I get a right all the time. It makes sense. Problems don't know any better. We've been taught literally for decades that the only answer is laws. The only answer is force people to change.
That's an innovative way to generate income.
Absolutely.
The bridges, the roads.
Not even done. The MTA and the subway, right? The subway plan right now, the answer is the same thing. Just give them more money.
The MTA will get no more money from me, not one single dime.
Yeah, but most people from low-income communities can't afford it. If it stretched for a month, how are they going to send their kids to school?
The other answer is, it goes up to $5 now. $5 now is your answer. You're okay with that? If you're poor, you're okay with $10 a day to take your kid to school? Thank you. With another $5 for you to get to work in the morning? I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with us paying more and more money to basically the mob so that they can give us horrible service and laugh at us. It's just like garbage when the trains fail. Trains fail every day in the city.
And nobody does anything.
And nobody does anything about it. Why? It's a monopoly.
Didn't just the other day they didn't even communicate the train service.
Yes,
Bob,
Monday.
what are you gonna do? Nothing. Because you're afraid. What are you gonna do? Because you're afraid. I'm not afraid.
Larry, you hyped up off this thing.
People break it.
There's also letting people grow marijuana and grow hemp. Not just to sell, not just to take, but also to grow.
They became criminals overnight. Number one. Second thing, we said, oh, gun owners, please be afraid. Be afraid to report. Be afraid to help the police out. Be afraid to help. Be afraid to do anything because the cops might come and take your guns. Be afraid. So now it's going to be harder for law enforcement to actually solve crimes. Yes, look, people often tease me. They say, Larry, why in the world should we vote for you? You don't have any government experience. That's the reason.
And we were talking the other night about how millennials are leaving the Democratic Party because it's fucking great ideas
Walking away.
like Lyft.
Yes, they are. They are walking away from Democrats and walking right to me.
This is a 5-way race, guys. 30% is victory.
I'm not part of this 20-year corrupt system. But these two guys who are running in the red team, blue team, they can't drain the swamp because they live in the swamp.
Hopefully the Libertarian Party has more candidates like you who embrace a rational message.
Yes.
Now, the
Is this all your idea?
Of course. Why? Let them.
Nixon.
Let them. Joe, you just came up with the reason why this is so important. Because win, lose, or draw, everything I'm talking about stays and will fix my state.
Very sharp. People should check you out. Thank you so
They
much.
should. LarrySharpe.com. It's E at the end of that, Larry Sharpe.
And the E stands for?
Electable.
Thank you. All right, I want to bring up Andrew, but before I bring Andrew up, I want to give you just a little quick blurb about Andrew and I. We go back, as I said, almost 6 years. Andrew and I, when the SAFE Act, the Unsafe Act was signed, we organized with fellow friends and patriots hundreds of educational forums as well as voter registration drives all across the state, and I mean hundreds. And Andrew and I fought side by side against the New York Unsafe Act with the hope that we would get Astorino in, which was a falsehood, to get Astorino in to remove the SAFE Act. At one of those rallies up in Albany, and I promised Andrew I wouldn't talk about this, so I'm not going to. It was a rally where I used the word war, so I'm not going to discuss that. It had to do with a war against our civil liberties, It had to do with a war in our personal freedoms and a war against the Constitution. So I haven't said it yet. I got a lot of flack for that one, just by using the word war. But tell me there isn't a war against our civil liberties. So with that, I want to bring in the man, the myth, the legend, Andrew Hollister.
Thank you so much for coming out. Can you guys hear me okay? Everybody hear me? Yeah? Awesome. All right, I want a little bit of crowd participation tonight, all right? And I do this every time, so if you've been here, you know you're going to have to work a little bit. I want you guys to think about where we are today and where we were 10 or 20 years ago, all right? And I want you guys to answer back to me the answers to these questions as I ask them, all right? So, first question, compared to 10 or 20 years ago, are our politicians more or less corrupt? More! Yep. She knows! 20 years ago, she knows! Yep. Next question, education. Our education in this state, is it better or is it worse? Worse. Job opportunities in this state, are there more or less? Less. If you measure our freedoms in New York State, have we lost more freedoms or have we gained them? Lost. We've lost them. It's true. It's true. Our state is in a downward spiral. We're in a downward spiral. Every way you measure, we are worse off today than we were a decade ago. Yes, our taxes, are they more or less? More! More, absolutely. So we have to think, way more. She's brilliant. We need to come with us.
Like they used to.
That's right. So, So if the direction we're heading in is the wrong direction, we have to ask ourselves, ask your friends, ask your family, are we doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result? We cannot do that. It cannot happen. It's the definition of insanity. Yes, you guys know this. Yep, absolutely. So we have to do something different this year. You guys might know this. We're running a marathon. We are running a marathon. This race is a marathon. We are down to our last about 30 days. This is the sprint to the finish line to cross. And we don't just want to cross the finish line. We don't want third place. We don't want second place. We want first place. So you might be thinking, how do we get there? Let me ask you guys another question. How many people who are here today, this is your home county, this is your home area? Raise your hand. All right. No? Now, how many of you live outside of this county? Awesome. Awesome. We've got people from all over. I'm going to talk to you guys about how we sprint to the finish line. That is, I need each of you to go home, whether that's this county or another county across the state, and turn your county gold. But the election night, there's going to be a map up. And each county is going to have a color associated with who won that county. And each of us needs to go home and work with our friends, our family, our co-workers, to get out the word to turn your county gold. If everybody goes home and turns their county gold, we will turn the state gold. Now, for some people, you might not know what that looks like. You might not know, how do we get there? What do I do? Well, you guys are already doing the first thing, which is you're showing up. You're here tonight. That's the first step. Showing up is so important because we need people to show up to the polls. So you guys are showing your dedication. We have materials. Share them with your neighbors. Share them with your friends. Many of you are on social media sharing Facebook posts. Please continue to do that. You guys are helping us build the momentum across the state. And to that point, guess which candidate is the most Googled candidate right now in Western New York?
Larry
Sharpe is the #1 most Googled candidate in Western New York, second most in this area. Second most, which means we've got some work to do here. We've got some work to do. And we've got some work to do in some other counties. We've got 30 days to make this sprint. Now, we talk a lot about how we can win. We talk about a 5-way race. You guys know what happened. Cynthia Nixon dropped out. She dropped out. It is a 5-way race. Now, what do we talk about we need to win a 5-way race? 30%, yes.
We need to get her voters.
Yes. So let me ask you, how many people know what percentage of votes Cynthia Nixon took in the Democratic primary?
35.
26%. A little over 30%, about 30%. 500,000 votes. 500,000 votes.
She won the Capital District.
She won the Capital District. She did. 500,000 voters looking for somebody who is not Andrew Cuomo. 500,000 voters who will definitely never cross over to red team. They will not. You know where they will go? They will go and vote Libertarian. They will vote gold this November as long as we reach them. We know this because they message us all day long on Facebook. Hundreds and hundreds of messages of these people saying, we found our home with Larry Sharpe. We're a Nixon supporter. We are now supporting Larry Sharpe. We are the only candidates that have crossover. We are. So, I'm going to give you guys just one more thing. And actually, no, I'll give you 2 more things because, bonus. How many people heard the conversation that Larry and I had when we first started running together? Almost nobody. I love it. All right. So I'm going to use this phrase, and you guys will understand what it means. But first, I want to ask you, how many of you want to see Larry Sharpe on TV? Some Larry Sharpe ads? How many of you want to hear some Larry Sharpe radio ads? That's going to require us all to believe together. What does that mean? Well, when Larry called me to ask me if I would run with him, he didn't say, hey, Andrew, I'd state in the next 4 years. He started like this. He said, Andrew, will you bleed with me? Will you bleed your time? Will you bleed your resources? Will you bleed your energy? Will you bleed with me to build a new New York? A New York where we're not ranked 37th for our K through 12 education. A New York where we're not ranked 50th for freedom. A New York where we're not ranked 40th for business opportunity. So I ask each of you to think tonight, will you bleed with us for that same vision?
Yes!
This year the stakes have never been higher. We have lost over 1 million people in New York over the last 8 years. 1 million people.
because of the weather.
Yes, I heard our governor's a weatherman now. That's what I heard. And we all know the weatherman never tells the truth. So in closing, Larry is bringing hope to families in New York.
Yes, he is.
He is bringing hope for a New York where people don't have to leave for opportunity, where people don't have to leave for education, where people don't have to leave to keep their small business afloat,
Where we don't have to leave our home.
where we don't have to leave our home, where we don't have to pay such high taxes that we're hostages to our property.
Can you imagine?
This is the hope that we're spreading across New York. So please, if you want that message, bleed with us.
Okay, so all of you that are from the Capital District, from this county, raise your hand for me. How many of you have been to the Libertarian Party meetings here in Albany County? Okay, well there's one Tuesday at 6 p.m.
Where?
at Brown's Brewery in Troy.
I know Brown.
I have a feeling you do. In Troy, okay? So, how many of you here are for absolute personal liberty? Stand up for me. Stand up for me. Everybody up. Get up there for me. Because I have the distinct honor and privilege of introducing the man that's going to change New York.
Yes.
Of introducing the man that, when he wins New York, will change politics in America forever. Let's hear it for him. Okay, I have to do that intro again later. That was a practice one. We're going to watch the second video.
Yeah.
Oswego County.
Genesee County between Buffalo and Rochester, New York. Albany County. Sent out.
Yeah, all right. Larry Sharpe.
But there's a reason. People put time. No, not because it was a good one. No, I don't know if it was good. I've never seen it. I don't know. But I know that people put their time and energy into a video to be seen tonight. So I wanted it to be seen tonight. That was the reason why. Yes, you put your time and energy into it. It should be seen. That's why I care. That's it. That's why I care. We all put our time and energy into these things, and it should be seen. That's all. Yes. Many people have asked me questions like, what does it mean to be a libertarian? Or what does it mean to care about personal liberty? Any of those things. I'm going to tell you something you may not know. What we're actually about, did I get a picture? Was that good? All right. Yes. What it's actually about is something very important. Something that no one else actually talks about, and we should actually talk about it. It's about what's in our founding documents. The pursuit of happiness. And no one talks about that. They talk about forcing you to X, or me being right on Y, or why Z is wrong, or why he or she is bad. They talk about that. But when do they talk about our founding documents that literally say life, liberty, pursuit of happiness? That's why we have this. I talk about happiness a lot. And there's several reasons why. One person once asked me, I said, Larry, What is really what your campaign, the core of all of your policies about? Is it about liberty, personal freedom? Yes and no. It's actually about happy New Yorkers. But here's the issue. How do you become happy? You got that? You know what?
On me.
Okay.
On me.
Okay. How do you become happy? By being free. Personal liberty actually isn't an end. That's the journey. The end is happiness if we ever get to it. Some of us will and some of us won't. And when we get to it, we won't keep it. We'll lose it, we'll get it back again. Well, yes, exactly right. Personal freedom is the journey, but the actual end game is happiness. And every single thing we talk about is a way of getting happy New Yorkers. See that? Yes, there we go. That guy's smart, listen to him. Yes. What's most important here, though, is that we're focusing on happiness. If we're focusing on this, happy New Yorkers means a better New York. That's the critical aspect, right? If you're happy, you stay.
Right.
If you're happy, you don't leave your home. If you're happy, you don't stop your business. If you're happy, you keep your family here. If you're happy, you retire here and put your pension here. If you're happy, you raise your family here. If you're happy, you build your business here. If you're happy, you bring your family members back from North Carolina, Arizona, Tennessee, Florida. You bring them back because you're happy. You might say, well, Larry, that's crazy.
Yeah, because I don't know anybody who wants to do that right now.
Yes! And it makes me sad to hear that. Yes, because that's my family and friends. Why am I running here? There are many reasons, but you know what the number one is? It's selfish. I don't want to move. I don't want to move. I was one of those people, of the 1 million who left, I was one of those people who I was about to become one of those people because I was down in North Carolina looking for property. For what I do for a living, I need a big city. Charlotte's a big city, or I can't survive with what I do for a living. So I was going to go move outside of Charlotte.
Much cheaper.
Yeah, and cheaper. It was great.
Totally cheaper. Totally.
In fact, it was so good I got angry.
Yes!
Yes! It was so good I got angry.
It was unbelievable.
I live in Queens. My property is 20 feet wide. Feet, not acres. Feet wide. I can't get to my backyard without going through my house because the house is touch. So I can't get around. I have to go through my house to go to my backyard. My backyard is golf grass. That's my backyard. My backyard is about 20 by 60 feet. That's my backyard. I could sell that house in Queens and buy a mansion in North Carolina. I was so angry about that, I said to myself, I'm not moving, I'm staying, and I'm fighting.
Amen.
I don't want to move. But I'm a business person, that's who I am. I'm a business guy. And being a business guy, here's what I realized. If I had lost 100,000 customers every year for 8 years, wow, I'm a bad CEO. Oh my God, am I a bad CEO. I am going to measure my success in my first term by one very important number. Do we still have 100,000 New Yorkers leaving this state? And if we do, I promise you now, I will declare failure. I will beg for your forgiveness, and I will not run again, because I love failure. But if that's not happening, and we've turned the tide, and we've stopped the bleeding, well then I'm winning, because then we're winning. That's what I want. Everything I talk about is about that. Happy New Yorkers means, by default, a better New York. Happy New Yorkers means more people come here. More your families stay here. This is what we're talking about. But I want to cover the first part, a part actually that Paul brought up. I'm glad Paul came, because Paul talked about the left. The left and the right are both important. So are the independents. So is everyone who's a New Yorker. Whether you support me or not, I still love you. It doesn't change. So I'll ask you if I could. Is there anybody in here, by raising your hand, who is a registered Democrat? There we go. Anybody here who's a registered Republican? Great. Anybody who's registered as neither of those two? Awesome. Anybody here who has not voted in the last 2 election cycles? Yes. What other candidate can do that? None. You cannot, well, if you can find a Cuomo rally. Theoretically, if you can find a Cuomo rally, you sure couldn't find Republicans or independents there. You can find Democrats, hardcore Democrats there. You can find them, assuming you can find one. Go to a Republican rally. What do you find? Republican diehards. That's it. That's what you find. But to win this thing, you can't win it with just Republicans. You got to win Republicans, Democrats, Independents, and the biggest thing, those who don't vote. Most of this state has given up. Yes, most of this state has given up. 60 to 70% of New Yorkers don't vote. That means up to 7 million people who wouldn't vote.
I never voted because I didn't care for any of them.
Thank you. Yes, yes, you're correct. And most people feel that way. We can change that though. But how do we do it? People think that the problem between left and right is ideology. It's not. If you look at a Reagan Republican versus a Bush Republican versus a Trump Republican, different ideology. You look at it. You look at a Carter Democrat versus a Clinton Democrat versus an Obama Democrat. Different ideology. They're different. The difference is not ideology. The difference is one thing: respect. That's it. George did it perfectly. He said, "I have conservative values, and Larry doesn't ask me to change my values. Never change your values, please, George. Never. Thank you. Never. Because you can be conservative, you can be liberal, you can be whatever you want to be. Just don't force yourself on others, and we can all get along." Yes. The weirdest thing is I go to Jamestown. Some of you don't even know that. That's the most furthest, one of the most furthest west cities we have, right? One of the most furthest west towns we have. I'll go to Watertown, Rochester, Buffalo, doesn't matter, Long Island.
Long
People
Lake.
love me. Say again?
Long Lake.
Long Lake, yes. People like me. Why do they like me? Because I respect them. That's the reason why. Because I respect them. Very often people assume that I have the exact same values as them. I don't have to. I just have to respect yours. Instead of saying you have every right to have yours. Yes. People often say, "But Larry, we have to turn them and make them like us." No, we have to turn them to not want to force their will on others. And they do it. Why do they do it? Because of fear. The current environment says, if I win as governor, I will now enforce my will upon you. And that's what happens. That's what happens. Yeah, that's a terrible idea, right? Yeah, she knows. Terrible idea. Because once I'm on the left or the right, if I'm on the right in Oklahoma or the left here in New York, no matter what, now the other side is afraid and fights back. And fights back hard. Yes, they do. And now that gap widens. But imagine if you have a governor who wouldn't say, I won, I will enforce my values, but instead says, I won, so now what I'll do is I will go out of my way to respect your individual rights and defend your individual rights against those bullies who would try to stop you. Yes, that's what we have to do. 100%. And this can be done. And it's being done. Look, you can say, Larry, I get what you're saying. It makes sense. But there are some issues that we simply can't agree upon. And here's what I would tell you. The number one thing to remember is for most people, most of us, we want the same outcomes. Most of us do. We don't always be able to get there, but we very often want the same outcomes. But not just that. Other things that we fight against, once you take away the respect piece, we actually don't care about. I'm talking about some divisive issues, if I could right now, that I think you can see how you can easily get both the left and right to agree. And the first one is what you mentioned, George, SAFE Act. For those of you on the right, obvious, you hate the SAFE Act. I got it. For those of you on the left, you may not feel that way. You may say, ooh, SAFE Act. But let me tell you something. For most people who are on the left, right, and who are concerned about the SAFE Act, here's the issue. Most of them don't know. This is what they think. They're very forward. Here's what they think. They think It says SAFE Act. I don't know much about it, and we haven't had a shooting since then, therefore it works. That's pretty much about all they know, and that's how they think. Well, I don't talk about that. You will never hear me talk about things like constitutionality, whether it was right or wrong. I don't discuss those things, because the people on the left don't care. What do I talk about? The SAFE Act made a bunch of New Yorkers criminals overnight. And they go, oh, that doesn't sound right. Then I say the SAFE Act makes people who are in a medical community part of a secret state police and have to report on people who have mental problems and even take medication, or even veterans who need help so they can lose their rights. Yeah, and they go, oh, I didn't know that. The SAFE Act actually affects veterans more than non-veterans by a percentage. Yes, it does, because they are more apt to have PTSD than non-veterans, and they are more apt to have firearms out of it. More apt to have firearms and more apt to have PTSD. So it affects them more by percentage. So now you have veterans now who have a community who now know this and don't get help. It created an underground, it created a black market in trading ammunition, a black market, people having their own firearms. I know people who have several firearms. I say, hey, you going shooting? They say, with what? Yeah, with what? I don't know.
Seriously, why do they have them?
Yes, but what?
Why do they have them?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm saying, why do they have firearms if they're not going to use them?
No, it's a joke.
Oh,
It's a joke. Get with the program. You're in the front row. Get with the program. It's a joke. I think you had one too many of those. The straw was a bad idea for you. Straw was a bad idea. All right. So what I'm saying here is you use that, and obviously you find people who are on the left who are anti-SAFE Act all of a sudden go, fine. Okay, maybe it's okay. And they begin to walk away. And what they wind up saying is, I tell them, don't you want marijuana? Don't you want cannabis and hemp legalized? They go, yeah. I said, well, there are people in New York who will give it up if you just leave their guns alone. And they go, so I get weed if I give up guns? Yeah, take the guns. Yes, that happens all the time because the outcome becomes making people happy. And if you want a firearm, you should have a firearm. If you don't want a firearm, you should not be forced to have one. And it's up to you. It's up to you. I do the same thing when it comes to marijuana and hemp. You have people say, no, it's bad, it's a gateway drug, you can't do it, it's horrible. And I say, do you know that there are people out there, farmers, who are struggling, horribly struggling? And if, guys, stay with me. I'm saying important stuff now. Stay with me.
I'm with you.
Thank you. All right, so, good, all right. So, there's...
Straw or no straw?
I still love you. There are small farmers out here who are struggling. If you give them an opportunity to grow hemp or grow cannabis, they've got a shot at actually surviving. You can help that small farmer out. And they go, oh, well, yeah, I like farmers. But not just that, there are people with chronic pain throughout this state who have to get stuck in an opioid or get their marijuana product illegally and maybe get their son or daughter arrested. Wouldn't it be good if they could grow their medicine in the backyard and be happy? Yeah, they go, yeah, we can do that. And I'm saying, that's what these people want. And guess what? You do that, you can have your guns. They go, I don't care about weed, I want my guns. Done! This happens again and again and again. I'm being, of course, a little flippant, I'm joking a little bit, but the concept's the same. The goal is respect that somebody wants to own a firearm, respect that somebody wants to use cannabis. If you don't want to own a firearm, yes. If you don't want to own a firearm, don't own one. If you don't want to use cannabis, don't use cannabis. And here's the funniest part. I don't own a firearm. Hold on. I don't use any drug except caffeine.
Me too.
Yes. So I don't have a horse in either race. It's not like I want it for myself. I support these issues for a very important reason. They matter, they're right, and most importantly, they make New Yorkers happy. That's what matters. This can cross the divide if we respect each other and talk to each other. We don't have to agree. It's really okay. As long as you go, okay, she wants that, that's crazy, I don't like that, but fine, that's for her. Just let me have what I want. People tease me all the time. They say, Larry, you're from Queens. How in the world do you know what's right for Jamestown or Watertown or Rochester or Buffalo? How do you know what's right? I don't.
And guess what? You don't know what's right for me in Queens. We're even. We're even. How about I let you be you, me be me, him be him, her be her, and we can all be free together.
Amen.
That's what this is about. That's what this is about. But I want to touch something now, as I've shown you how we can make this happen and get people to understand. Let me tell you what, there's some obstacles we have. People are concerned about. What you hear all the time. And when you hear this, I want you to think what I'm going to tell you to think, if you don't mind when you hear something. Just think about this. You will hear the left and the right, these two separate phrases all the time. We can fix things, of course we can. All the time. And the right will say, we have to invest in blah, 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 blah. And the Democrats will say, we have to fund blah, 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 blah. What does invest and fund mean? Taxes. Yes, it does. Many of you have been watching me for over a year. You've seen me come out with plans and ideas for almost everything. Have I ever once talked about more taxes? No. Never. Not one time. Ever. I'm a libertarian. I don't like taxes. Never. So when you hear them tell you they have a plan, it's funding and investing, what they mean is they're going to keep taxing you for horrible, horrible service. That's what they mean. But there's something else they'll say. Here's what we'll do. We'll clean things up. Hear that one. Waste, fraud, and abuse. Hear that one. Right? When's the last time waste, fraud, and abuse worked? Yeah, never. It's correct, never. Yeah. So next time you hear someone say, well, fix waste, fraud, and abuse, what you should hear is, we'll do nothing. We're going to push down prices. We're going to support this. We're going to do nothing. We will do nothing is what we will do. The plan the Democrats have, nothing. The plan the Republicans have, nothing. Now, if you're a Democrat, you will hear things like this. Fully funded. Fully funded. Right? As if the answer for every program is not enough money. It's never fully funded. Never. His Majesty, his crown jewel is his education program. Crown jewel. He proudly says, we spend the most in the nation. $22,000 per kid. I'm so proud. So proud. What do we rank in education? Ooh. But how much money we spend on education? Every one of our kids should leave high school and go right to NASA. Everyone, right to NASA. That's how much money we spend. We'd be pumping out rocket scientists by the year. Boom, boom, boom. Another 400,000 out the door. That's what we should be doing every single year, but we're not. This is his answer. Fund more, fund more, fund more, and that's it. When you hear fund more, you should hear taxes, 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 I'll do nothing. Well, what's Republicans' plan? Nothing. But he has one thing now. If you're a Republican, hold on, this is one thing. 30% lowering taxes. You heard that one, right?
Yeah.
How? Magic. Magic! Boom, done. Now, why 30%? Why? He thinks you'll believe that.
That's right.
That's the reason.
Magic number.
How about this? 100. If you're going to lower taxes magically, why 30%? Let's do it 100%. I'm in. I'll drop out. I'm in. 100%. I'm out. I'll endorse him. I'm out. Do it 100%. Done deal. Dump taxes 100%. Now we're in. All good. You've just made that number up. And the part that bothers me most about that, specifically, is if 30% was real, if it could actually be done, if it were right, and it was actually true, and that's just a nasty ploy to insult your intelligence, if it wasn't that, why now? You've been watching the Democrats destroy this state for 16 years. You don't have a plan. Now you have a plan. You don't have a plan. If you're a Democrat, you've been running this state for 16 years. If you were going to fix it, you'd already fixed it.
Yeah.
If you're a Republican, you've been watching them destroy this state for 16 years. Where's your plan? Where's your movement? Now all of a sudden, oh, it's a month left. 30%! They'll believe that. If you're a Republican, I hope you're insulted, because that's insulting. Because that's insulting. I hope you're insulted by that. That is insulting. That's embarrassing. He should be ashamed of himself. He should be ashamed of himself. Random 30%. How? Where? With what?
I have bold plans. I do, bold plans. But all my plans, I give you an actual plan. How? What's going to happen? What is it going to take? He goes, magic. Stop. It's embarrassing.
I'm his neighbor. I'm really insulted.
Thank you, yes. But here's what they'll also tease me about. They'll say, Larry, how can you do this? Larry, where were you 10 years ago? Where were you 5 years ago? Where were you with this and that and the other thing? Where were you? I was running my business. I was with my family. That's what I was doing.
Yeah.
You were in office. That was your job. My job was to take care of me and mine. That was my job. And I made my own money, and I lost my own money, and I fought with my own sweat to make my own living. You, both Democrat and Republican, both of them, have been on our dime for 20 years. It was your job to take care of us, and you failed. That's what I said. And you failed. And you will stand there and say, where were you? I say, where were you? Now, I spent 1 year doing this. And in 1 year, do you know how much money I made from the people? Nothing. I don't have a salary. I'm not an elected official. They're getting paid by you to run their campaigns. They still get a salary. This system is made for someone who's in the system or wealthy. That's what it's made for. It's made for. And if they cared about that, why wouldn't they change it? They won't. Instead, they go out of their way to get people like me to get pushed out of the mainstream to the best of their ability. I lost over 50% of my income last year. Because I'm in front of you, I can't be in front of clients.
Yep.
I will lose over 75% of my income this year doing this. Don't feel sorry for me. It's not what I'm asking for. Good.
You're awesome.
No. Thank you.
You're awesome.
I knew what I was getting myself into when I did this. I knew that. I'm doing this to show you that I'm serious. I wouldn't sacrifice like this if I wasn't serious. Now people say, well, Larry, look, the polls. Larry, look, the media. You can't get past this. Here's something you better understand. It's important that you know this. It's important that you know this. When they say, well, he can't make this, he can't do this. They said that about Obama in 2008. They said that about Trump in 2016. They said that about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez just this year. They didn't see any of those people coming. They don't see me coming either. And the result will be the same. Yes, it will. Now, back in 2008, Barack Obama was using email to raise money. That was a big deal back then. Now everyone uses it. But it was a big deal in 2008. Now, what else was using it? He was ahead of the curve. Anti-establishment, ahead of the curve. Beat Hillary Clinton. That was his thing. 2016 comes. Trump, using Twitter. Head of the curve. Underground. Yes, it's okay. That's what they call. That's what they call. And they call what they call likely voters. Well, I'm not getting a lot of likely voters. I'm getting likely voters, but I'm also getting a whole lot of unlikely voters. A whole lot of them.
Like me.
Yes, thank you. And yes, tons of them, lots of them. And people who haven't voted, and people who are registered to vote for the first time. This is a very winnable race if we get out there and do a couple of things right. Number one, I'm going to ask you for a couple of things. Follow my lead and show respect.
Always.
That's what I'm asking you.
Always.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Show respect. Now, do I sometimes get angry and disrespectful? I do. Absolutely. But only to people who are other public figures and who stand against me. If you are a public figure and you stand against me, you are my political enemy, and I will attack you. Period. Yes. Yes. If you are not a public figure, I'm not going to attack you. You're not my enemy. Even if you don't like me. Even if you're nasty to me. I'm not going to. Because if that's the case, I have to support you in a couple months here. I've got to make sure that I keep everybody happy. Because just because I'm angry at you, you're angry at me, you're still going to be a New Yorker, and I need you to be happy. Because if you're not happy, you're going to leave. I don't want you to leave. I want you to stay. And that's what's important. Now, I'll give you one more cool story if I could. I was at the Clinton Correctional Facility today. When I went there, I met CEOs, and I also met
family members of inmates. I'm in them both. Now, that's odd. I went there, and when I was up front, shaking hands, saying hi to the CEOs, the corrections officer, they go in. A couple guys knew who I was. They said, hey, Larry Sharpe, how you doing? Oh, great, awesome. Shake hands, good. Family members of inmates come out. Hey, is that Larry Sharpe? Yeah.
Well, they can vote.
My point is, both knew who I was,
It's true.
and both wanted selfies. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I've been talking about fixing things by having 2 different sides together to repair, and right then and there, I got family members of inmates and corrections officers going, oh, Larry Sharpe, selfie time. This is how we can change this state. This is how we can win. When you get both sides together, you can absolutely make this happen. I have teachers who like me. I have corrections officers who like me. I have average, everyday business owners who like me. Lots of them do. But know what I said? Who like me. There's a very important thing you might notice. It's a small thing, but it's an important thing. When you talk about the Republican and Democrat, people almost always use one thing, their last name. But they don't for me.
Larry.
They call me Larry. Yeah. When I'm outside, all the time I hear is this, oh, Larry! That's what I hear. All the time. The hotel I'm staying at. I walked in, the guy up front, hey, you Larry Sharpe. Yeah! How you doing? Yeah! They say he can't win. They say nobody knows me. But look at this. In 1 year, and I'll say this again, in 1 year, we have both plans to save the state and a movement. Yes! I've said it before. Win, lose, or draw, we win. Doesn't matter, because everything we're doing now, we will continue doing no matter what. I will keep talking about this no matter what. But if we win, we change the entire nation overnight.
Yeah!
The whole thing changes. If we win, every single person will have to go, oh my God, this left-right paradigm of I'm hating you and you hate me can go away.
Yeah!
No one believes it. No one believes it, but we will prove it to be true if I win. Even if I come in second. I come in second, what happens? The Republican comes in second, what happens? Nothing. Back to sleep. That's all. Good to go. 4 more years, I kick the guy out. You try it this time. No. That'll happen next time, 4 years from now. Next thing. Well, most of us, half this room will be gone in 4 years. That happens anyway. But if I come in second, things still change. This is the time. I'm going to ask you, be respectful. Go out there and meet people. Andrew said something important. He said, turn your county gold. Aww. I love that. Here's what I want you to think about. How do you do that? Please don't wait for me. Whatever you think is the right answer, go do it. If you think it's a good idea to go to your grocery store and hand out pamphlets, go do it.
Do it.
If you think it's the right idea to go to your school and put up a sign and stand there and shake people's hands with a shirt on,
go do
it. Go do it.
If
you think it's the right idea to wave signs on the highway,
go do it.
It doesn't matter. Yes, keep your clothes on though. Keep your clothes on. I said respectful. Clothes stays on. No, I said with shirt on. That also means pants. It doesn't just mean shirt. It also means pants. Keep them on. Clothes on. Respectful. Yes. If you think your answer is to knock on doors,
go do it.
Go do it. If you think it is to put pamphlets in people's mailboxes,
go do it.
Just go do it. Just go do it. I didn't say just do it. Stop that. I'm getting in trouble. I said go do it. Totally different. Totally different. Just go do it. Why do I say that? That's what I do. I just go do it. Some of you saw me. I did CrossFit the other day.
Yeah! Yeah!
Because someone said, go do CrossFit. I said, okay.
Was it tough?
It was tough, but yes, I'm 50. CrossFit stuff. Yes.
Were you like, never again?
No, I wasn't, but you know what? There were people there who came. Somebody just came to watch me do CrossFit. Kind of weird. Yeah. Kind of weird. But it's fine. I went and did CrossFit. It's fine. I talked to him before, right? Talked to him after. We talked to each other. Yes.
Were you like, hi?
Yes. Yes. And look, here's funny. A lot of guys wouldn't have done it. Why? Because they were afraid that they would have failed. And I did. I wasn't perfect. There were a bunch of fit youngsters doing CrossFit. You were there. Out push-upping me, out pull-upping me, out sit-upping me, out. They didn't outrun me though. I'm a good runner, by the way. I am a good runner. I still got that in me. I'm a good runner still. They were out outting me. They were doing it. And people watched me fail. And so what?
So what is right? So what is right?
Yes, and so what? The number one thing I hope you see when I talk about people, when I talk about happiness. Happiness means being human. I'm just human. Every plan that I come up with may be wrong. And I want you to think the same way. Go out there with your plan. Try something. You may be wrong. And if you get in trouble, so what?
Oh, what?
Yes.
What?
Yeah, don't get arrested though. No, don't get arrested. You're in trouble. Yes. What I'm saying here is if you go and someone gets mad at you and says, get off my lawn. Someone does that, then just get off your lawn. It's okay. Say you're sorry and get off your lawn. It's okay. Don't worry. If the newspaper come out and go, crazy Larry Sharpe people, good, let them do that. It's fine. It's awesome. You're human. I'm human. We'll make mistakes. I'll leave you with this one last piece. I was at an actual, I was in a radio station, and a teacher calls me I'm online, and she says, Larry, we have a problem. She says, the kids right now that are coming to school, they don't know anything. They're 4 and 5-year-olds. They don't know nothing. They don't know their color, their numbers, or nothing.
Sad.
I said, wow, it's terrible. What can we do? No, I didn't preach to her. I didn't tell her what the right answer was. I said, you're a teacher. What? She said this. She said, I think we should pay the parents. We should pay them $5,200 $5,200 if they pass the test. The kids pass the test. And I thought to myself, what a terrible idea. That's what I thought.
Really? Yeah.
But you know what I told her? I said, if I'm governor and your district thinks it's right, try it. That's what I said.
You never know.
Yes, even though in my head I said, that's a bad idea. But I'm not a teacher. And I'm not there with those kids. I don't feel her frustrations. I don't know her parents. Maybe she's right. So guess what? I walk the walk. I talk the talk. I walk the walk. I said I don't want to be your dictator. I said I don't want to tell you what I tell you what to do. I said I want you to figure out how to make yourself happy. If this works, and all of a sudden all the kids are awesome, great, let's follow it. Oh good, let's do it. If it doesn't work, we all learn what not to do. But we're trying to find solutions, because from that error we may find something good. We may find something good. When you hear all my plans, realize something. I recognize I may be wrong. But there's a difference. If I'm wrong, I'll say so, and I'll ask for your help to fix it. I need us to move forward. I need you, we can do this. I know I'm not perfect, no one is, but I will move us in the right direction. I will do that. Now, you might say, Larry, I like this, and people may attack you. Well, what about this? What about that? What about this? Here's what I want you to remember, and talk to other people about this. Whatever plan you may like or not like of mine, whatever issues you may agree with or not agree with, don't measure towards perfection. There is no perfection. I'm not perfect. We'll never be perfect. No one's perfect. Measure it towards the status quo. Here's your option. Nothing. Continual spiral of decay. Isn't that what you said? Spiral of decay. Continual spiral of decay with all your friends leaving and you decide to leave right behind them. Option 1. That's any of the other 4 candidates. Option 2. A chance of some real change.
Yeah.
You can do this. So go out there. Remember, it's not about perfection. It's about turning this state in the right direction. If you want to be righteous, you can be righteous. You'll shake your fist and be righteous and say, I voted R or I voted D because I'm righteous. And you can do that while you're packing your U-Haul and heading up to Arizona. Because that's where you're going. Florida, that's where you're going. Exactly right. And I'll be joining you in North Carolina. Exactly right, yeah. Or you can say, you know what? This is a chance to change some things, to make happy New Yorkers, to change this state. Remember something. We, the vast majority of people, we all love New York. We just hate the government. So stick with me this year, 2018, November 6th. Vote Larry Sharpe, Andrew Hollister. Let's change government.
Okay, we actually got the video up. You guys want to stay for just a few more minutes before you go for your selfies?
Albany County, New York. Suffolk County, New York.
From Oswego County.
From Sharpe County.
Brooklyn, New York.
Ontario County.
From Latham County, New York.
From Suffolk County, New York.
I'm from Delaware County.
From Rockland County.
Genesee County, that's between Buffalo and Rochester, New York.
I live in Shenango County.
From Broome County.
Hi, I'm Laura from Tennessee. I meet a lot of people that have moved here from New York. And when I ask them why they left New York, they all say the same things. Taxes are too high, cost of living is too high, there's too much government interference and control in their lives, so they leave to escape all of that and come here instead. Quite frankly, I think that's tragic.
My name is John, and I'm voting for Larry Sharpe because of his support and understanding for small business owners like myself, as well as his support of our individual rights, specifically the Second Amendment, not only when it comes to firearms, but the current knife laws, specifically pocket knife laws we have here in New York.
My name is Andrew. I'm a libertarian. This is my first election, and I'm voting for Larry Sharpe.
My name is Maura. I'm a registered libertarian, and I'll be voting for Larry Sharpe in my first election.
I'm Brandon. I'm a registered Republican, as are most of my friends and family. Myself and my family have chosen Larry because he's the only candidate offering change that would actually improve the state of New York rather than business as usual.
My name is Rivka. I'm a registered Republican. I'm voting for Larry Sharpe because he's the only candidate in this election actually discussing issues. He's the only candidate actually discussing solutions. The New York State Republican Party and the New York State Democratic Party have long abandoned their principles and are not actually working to improve New York State.
I'm voting for Larry Sharpe. First registered this year, first voting this year. Found him on Father's Rights group Facebook.
My name is Robert. I'm a proud supporter of Larry Sharpe. I'm not interested in voting for anyone with a special interest. I am not interested in voting for a career politician. I'm interested in voting for someone who actually gives a damn about the average New Yorker. I'm voting for someone who has a plan to help everyone, and in my opinion, extremely good leadership capabilities.
Hi, my name's Ian. I'm a registered Republican. Reasons why Larry Sharpe has my vote: he's the only person running that tells us what we need to hear and not what we want to hear. No sugarcoating. Has so many plans to change from the root and give us real hope. He's the only one that's like going to fight for our Second Amendment rights. Only person that has real business plan for lowering our taxes, fixing our infrastructure, bettering our education. I could go on all day.
The reason that I support Larry Sharpe is because this is such an important race, not just for New York, but for the rest of the country. The ideas that Larry has are absolutely brilliant, and they would work in any state, not just New York. When he wins, the rest of the country is going to be paying very close attention.
I'm registered as an independent. I'm voting for Larry Sharpe because he's going to reduce the size of the government in New York State. We need to manage things on a local county level, and Larry's going to let us do just that. Stop the waste. I love New York.
My name is Saj. The reason why I'm voting for Larry Sharpe is because he's a huge supporter of school choice. Homo is too socialistic.
Hello, this is Matt. I am a registered Republican voting for Larry Sharpe because I believe in personal freedom, accountability of government, and Larry Sharpe has our best interests in mind.
Hi, I'm Christy, a registered Democrat, and the reason I'm voting for Larry this year is because I am a teacher and a research scientist
who has done research on the environment, and I'm seeing how stagnant the progress has been when we leave that in the hands of the government. I'm really tired of how stagnant the duopoly political party system has been going, and I'm ready for progress and innovation in this state.
Hi, my name is Jeff. I'm a member of the Libertarian Party. I support Larry Sharpe because he has bold, common sense ideas. He's a strong Second Amendment supporter. He's a supporter of small business. I'm always impressed every time I see Larry speak, whether it's a crowd of 200 or 20. He always takes the time to listen to people because he cares.
My name is Tyler, and I am supporting Larry Sharpe for governor for New York State because I think he is the anti-establishment person we need to unravel this mess that is New York State. He seems to care about how we struggle in upstate.
I am a registered Democrat. I am voting for Larry Sharpe because he is the only candidate with real solutions instead of empty promises.
My name is Joe, and I'm a registered Republican. 3 reasons of why I'm voting for Larry is he's a straight up guy, he's not a career politician, and I love his education reform policy, his naming rights for the bridges to bring down the tolls. And like I said, he's a straight guy, a straight shooter, and you know, he's speaking the truth.
The fact that people are fleeing to escape the suffocation that they feel is truly heartbreaking. Here's a better idea. Stay and fix it. Vote for Larry Sharpe.
If you're a disenfranchised voter like I used to be, or if you haven't voted in a long time, I suggest checking out Larry Sharpe. With an E, the E stands for electable.
Larry Sharpe is the only candidate who can break the system and actually bring some sense back to our state.
Please, this November, Larry Sharpe for New York, Libertarian. Tell me I'm wrong.
I love New York, and I'm from New York. Larry Sharpe for governor.
He's got my vote.
I'm voting for Larry Sharpe.
Okay, folks, there are brochures on the table over there and flyers that you guys can take with you. The lawn signs are for sale. Can we get a group picture? Can we get everybody to come in front here so the photographer can get a picture of us? Bring it in, bring it in. Come on in, guys. Come on, big picture time. Despite what the media says that Larry, nobody knows what Larry is. Look at this. Yeah, look at this.
Probably not. I'm going from associate.
Come on, Larry, 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 Larry. I can't hear you. Thank you. Thank you for coming out tonight.